Hey there, Ruth Haven community. Today we're diving into one of my absolute favorite topics that bridges the gap between our gardens and our coops. If you've been following along with us here at Ruth Haven Grounds, you know I'm always looking for ways to work smarter, not harder, and to make everything on our homestead pull double duty. Well, sprouting beans for your laying hens is exactly that kind of magic solution that'll have you wondering why you didn't start years ago. I still remember the first time I tossed a handful of fresh bean sprouts into my coop. My girls went absolutely bonkers, and within 2 weeks, I noticed their egg yolks were deeper, richer, and honestly more beautiful than anything I'd seen before. That's when I knew I was onto something special. So let's talk about why bean sprouts are absolute gold for your flock and exactly how to grow them, even if you've never sprouted anything in your life. Listen, I know you're busy. We all are. But hear me out on this one because the benefits are truly worth the minimal effort involved. When you sprout beans, you're essentially creating a nutritional powerhouse that didn't exist in the dried seed. It's like watching plain old beans transform into a superfood right before your eyes. Fresh bean sprouts are absolutely packed with vitamins A, C, and E, which are crucial for keeping your hens healthy and their immune systems strong. But here's what really gets me excited: the protein content. Laying hens need serious protein to produce those gorgeous eggs, and sprouted beans deliver protein in a form that's far more digestible than dried beans ever could be. We're talking about a 30% increase in protein availability just from the sprouting process alone. The enzyme activity in fresh sprouts also aids digestion, meaning your hens are actually absorbing more nutrients from everything they eat. I've noticed my flock's overall health improve dramatically since making sprouts a regular part of their diet. Fewer respiratory issues, shinier feathers, and those egg yolks I mentioned, they've stayed consistently vibrant orange-yellow, which tells me my girls are getting exactly what they need. Now, not all beans are created equal when it comes to sprouting for chickens. Through plenty of trial and error here at Ruth Haven, I've found some clear winners that sprout reliably and that my hens devour every single time. Mung beans are my go-to, hands down. They sprout quickly, usually within 3 to 5 days, and chickens absolutely love them. They're also incredibly forgiving for beginners, which makes them perfect if you're just starting your sprouting journey. I buy mine in bulk from the local feed store or online, and they store for months in a cool, dry place. Lentils are another fantastic option, and honestly, they might be even easier than mung beans. They sprout in just 2 to 3 days and create these beautiful little green shoots that my hens pick clean. The best part? Lentils are usually cheaper than mung beans, so if you're feeding a larger flock, your wallet will thank you. Chickpeas work wonderfully too, though they take a bit longer at around 4 to 6 days. The sprouts are chunkier and more substantial, which I've noticed my older hens particularly enjoy. Just make sure you're using dried chickpeas, not canned, because we need them raw and untreated for successful sprouting. I'd steer clear of kidney beans and other large dried beans that contain higher levels of lectins. Even when sprouted, these can be harder on chicken digestive systems, and it's just not worth the risk when we have so many better options available. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually make this happen. I promise you, this is easier than you think, and you definitely don't need any fancy equipment to get started. First, you'll want to measure out your beans. I typically work with about 2 cups at a time, which produces enough sprouts to feed my flock of 12 hens for 2 to 3 days. Start by giving your beans a good rinse in a colander, picking out any broken or damaged ones as you go. Next, place your beans in a large jar or bowl and cover them with cool water, about 3 times the volume of the beans themselves. Let them soak for 8 to 12 hours. I usually start mine in the evening so they're ready to drain the next morning. This initial soak kickstarts the germination process and softens the seed coat. After soaking, drain the water completely. This is crucial because standing water leads to mold and bacteria growth, neither of which we want anywhere near our chicken feed. I use a wide-mouth mason jar with a mesh sprouting lid, which makes draining incredibly easy. If you don't have one, a regular jar with cheesecloth secured with a rubber band works perfectly. Now comes the routine that'll become second nature within days. Rinse and drain your sprouts twice daily, morning and evening. Each time, add fresh cool water, swirl it around gently, and drain completely. I mean, completely. Tip that jar upside down and let it sit at an angle in a dish rack so any excess water can drip out. Keep your sprouting jar in a spot with indirect light and good air circulation. I use my kitchen counter away from the window. You don't want direct sunlight, which can overheat the sprouts, but they don't need to be in total darkness either. This is where observation becomes your best teacher. For mung beans and lentils, you're looking for sprouts that are about 1 to 2 inches long. The little shoots should be crisp and white or pale green, never brown or slimy. They should smell fresh and slightly sweet, like growing plants, not sour or funky. I usually start feeding my sprouts when they're on the smaller side because chickens can eat them at any stage of sprouting. Some folks wait until leaves develop, but I've found my hens prefer them at the younger, crunchier stage. Plus, harvesting them earlier means I can start the next batch sooner, keeping a continuous supply going. If you notice any mold, off smells, or sliminess, toss that batch and start over. It happens to everyone occasionally, especially in humid weather. Don't feed questionable sprouts to your flock. When in doubt, throw it out. Here's how I work sprouts into my daily chicken care routine without it feeling like extra work. Every morning when I let my hens out and refresh their water, I bring out a big bowl of fresh sprouts mixed with their regular feed. The sprouts should make up about 10 to 15% of their total daily ration. I scatter the mixture in their run area rather than putting everything in feeders. This encourages natural foraging behavior and keeps my girls active and entertained. Watching them scratch and search for those tender sprouts never gets old, and it's much better for them mentally and physically than standing around a feeder. During winter months, when fresh greens are scarce, I increase the sprout portion slightly to compensate for the lack of grass and weeds they'd normally forage. This has made a massive difference in maintaining egg production through our cold season here at Ruthhaven. One word of caution. Introduce sprouts gradually if your flock has never had them before. Start with small amounts mixed into their regular feed and increase over a week or two. This prevents digestive upset and helps them get accustomed to this new food source. Once you see how much your hens love sprouts and how much better they look and lay, you'll want a steady supply. The trick is staggering your batches so you're harvesting sprouts every couple of days rather than all at once. I keep 3 jars going in rotation. When jar 1 is ready to feed out, jar 2 is mid-sprout, and jar 3 is just beginning its soak. This way, I'm harvesting fresh sprouts every 2 to 3 days without any gaps. It sounds complicated, but once you establish the rhythm, it becomes completely automatic. Label your jars with the start date using a piece of tape or a marker. Trust me on this. When you've got multiple jars going, it's easy to forget which one started when, and labels eliminate any guesswork. Store your harvested sprouts in the refrigerator if you're not feeding them immediately. They'll keep for 3 to 4 days in a covered container, though honestly, mine never last that long because my hens demolish them so quickly. Friends, I'm going to be real with you. Sprouting beans for your laying hens is one of those small changes that creates surprisingly big results. We're talking better egg quality, healthier birds, reduced feed costs over time, and the deep satisfaction of providing something truly beneficial that you grew yourself. The time investment is minimal, maybe 5 minutes twice a day, and most of that is just rinsing and draining. The payoff, though? That's measured in golden yolks, glossy feathers, and the knowledge that you're giving your flock the absolute best nutrition possible. So here's my challenge to you. Grab a bag of mung beans or lentils this week and give it a try. Start small with 1 jar, get the feel for it, and I promise you'll be amazed at the results. Your hens will thank you, and honestly, you might find yourself getting a little obsessed with sprouting like I did. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future Ruth Haven Grounds content. We've got so much more to share about creating a thriving, sustainable homestead. And please, share this article with your chicken-keeping friends who might benefit from learning about sprouts. The more of us feeding our flocks this way, the healthier and happier our homesteads become. Now get out there and start sprouting. Your hens are waiting.